How do I meet my soulmate? How do I move on from heartbreak? Does my dream relationship even exist? Are dating apps the only way I can meet people? Are all relationships this hard? This is Between the Sheets with Dr. Love. Each week, your host dives into sex, love, dating, relationships, and everything in between. Welcome to Between the Sheets with Dr. Love.
Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Between the Sheets with me, Dr. Love. Join me this season as we navigate love, relationships and life with very special guests. Get ready to laugh, cry and connect. I know these meaningful conversations will impart a little bit of wisdom and a lot of love to you. So let's dive right in. Lauren, thanks for joining us today.
That's okay.
You've had quite a bit of a career shift over the last few years.
I have.
You have. So you've gone from working as a travel consultant to now breakfast radio.
Yes, it was a very big change. So I guess what happened was I was in travel agency for about 8 years and I absolutely adored my job, but it was getting to a point where I realised that I wasn't really happy in my day-to-day life. It just wasn't fulfilling me in the way that I wanted. I loved talking to customers. I loved talking about travel, like it's a huge passion of mine. But I didn't love the admin, the follow-up, the details. I'm a big picture person, not a detail person. And I realised that this wasn't something that I could sustain long-term. And it was something that I had, like I was listening to 8 hours of podcasts a day. You know, while I was working, I was listening to all these radio shows and I just absolutely loved it. And I always felt like I could contribute to their conversations.
Yeah.
And one day I just thought, you know what, I'm sick of this. I'm going to Google radio. How do you get into radio? I didn't think it was I actually wanted to do my own podcast, really, not radio.
Yeah.
But I did a bit of a Google search and I found Australian Radio School here in South Australia.
Oh, with Sean.
Yeah, with Sean Craig Murphy.
Sean.
Did ya?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, he's an excellent
He's
bloke.
awesome.
He's the best.
Shout out to Sean.
Shout out to Sean Craig Murphy. I cannot say Sean. It's Sean Craig Murphy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But I did the Introduction to Radio course. I didn't expect anything from it and I did really well in it. I couldn't believe it. And I thought, you know what, I think I could give this a go. And that's something that I think Sean Craig Murphy in that course does really well, is inspire you and make radio seem like it's something that's achievable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's what I felt like. It didn't matter who you were, what your background was. If you can just talk and be a people person, have a conversation, have your personality come out, you're good.
Yeah.
You got this.
Absolutely.
Right? You don't have to fit into a box. And you see that in radio. You're not the same as somebody else. Or,
no way.
You know, we're all different. So, yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. So when I did the course, I thought, wow, like this is something I think I can do. So I quit my job in travel agency. I thought, you know what, I'm done here. I went traveling over in America for a couple of months and then I came home and I set up a meeting with Sean Craig Murphy actually 3 years ago yesterday.
Oh, no way.
And he said he'd put in a good word for me at Fresh.
Yeah.
So from there
you are.
Yeah. So from there it was volunteering with Loz and Tomo, the breakfast show at the time.
Yeah.
Did a lot of producing. I loved it. It was a huge passion of mine. And eventually I went to Port Augusta and did radio stint there. I was only there for 3 months and then I got the call to say, hey, come back, we want you as a breakfast host here on Fresh, which was a dream come true.
Was it a bit nerve-wracking, like sort of leaving a job where you know you're going to get a paycheck at the end of every week to sort of take the risk to get into radio, or was
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, we all need money. We all need money to live and we need, you know, you need money to live.
Yeah.
And I just realised that, I mean, money has never been a motivator for me. So I realised happiness and doing something I'm passionate about was definitely my driver.
And a bonus to do something you're passionate about and get paid for it.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Win-win, tick, tick.
Who would have thought? Not me.
Well, you're doing well and I see you floating around. Every time I'm looking somewhere, I see, you know, maybe on a bus, you know, like a picture on the bus stop or a billboard or something, you know, and you're online. So you're doing quite a good job and your personality is encapsulating. It's, you know, you stand out and, you know, I want to listen to what you've got to say.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice.
Yeah, so that's some good feedback.
That makes one of you.
So it's like somebody wants to listen to me.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you.
So making the career change, do you think it's impacted? Obviously, you know, I'm loving relationships and all about relationships, not just about with other people, but also with yourself, family, corporations, whatever it is. It's relationships in general. So I would like to know, with your career change, have you found that it's impacted the way that you do relationships?
With myself, for sure, because I think that actually going and doing this and achieving being on breakfast radio in a capital city, it's really made me realise I can do this. Like, I can do it, which is something I think I've always struggled with, that self-worth, that self-belief.
Yeah.
If you'd asked me 4 years ago if I'd be on breakfast radio, I would have laughed in your face and said, no way, they're not going to take me. Like, why would they have me on there? So I think the fact that I was able to set my mind to something and achieve it, like, it's made me have so much more confidence in myself. It's, I know I can do it.
Okay, so it's changed the relationship with self.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think then that would transfer into relationships with others, say romantic relationships?
Yeah, I think so, because I think it is so important to be so sure of yourself in a romantic relationship. I was actually in a 10-year relationship when I started the radio journey, and I think if we hadn't broken up, I probably wouldn't be sitting at Fresh now. I think I would have been pretty busy, preoccupied, trying to make that relationship work, or trying to question why I wasn't good enough for this relationship to keep working. So I was very distracted by that relationship. So I think, now being single and now seeing that confidence within myself and knowing that I can do these things, I think going into another relationship, I'll be worlds apart from who I was in that previous relationship.
Yeah. It seems to be a current theme on the podcast, because we've had a few guests come in, and, you know, you, like many of them, have said that the investment that we need in a relationship, it takes investment in a relationship. And it's almost like they couldn't have done the relationship well and the career well at the same time.
No way.
Or when they got rid of, I know we had Cassandra Mamone, the jeweler, on a couple of episodes ago. She was saying that once she got rid of a bad relationship, when she let go of the anchor, it's like her career flourished. Do you feel like that if you're in the wrong relationship, it would hold you down, that other areas of your life would also be burdened?
100%. I mean, it was for me, you know. Like I said, I was still doing the producing and still doing that, but to take the leap to move in, like, you know, to Port Augusta of all places, or, you know, to take the leap into putting yourself out there like that, I don't think I could have done it before, because I didn't believe in myself, but my partner at the time certainly didn't he made me, I say that's actually, I don't like using that term. He didn't make me feel anything, but my reaction to his way of treating me made me feel not good enough to be able to do these extra things. I don't know if that made sense.
It does make sense. And we do say that he made me feel a particular way. And I do want to go back on that, because people do make us feel particular ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes people remember us. You know, when people leave us and they leave feeling good, they remember feeling good.
That's so true, actually. You know what? I don't give enough credit to that sort of thing, but that is so true, because you do remember people from the way they make you feel.
Absolutely. So let's honour that he did make you feel a particular way in his presence. Not that you didn't have a choice. You could have chose to feel different to the way he was acting in that environment, but you did feel a particular way because of the behaviours or the words, or, you know, the no-show, or what, absent of emotionality, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or even the walking on eggshells, or not being sure about what this is, whatever it was, that it makes you feel or question, well, if I can't get this right and he doesn't think I can get this right, maybe I really can't.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when you've got someone that you trust more than anyone in the world sort of giving you, I guess, a sort of emotional feedback in a way, it does make you think, well, if this person knows me better than anyone in the world and they don't like me, then, oh my gosh, maybe I'm
How is the rest of Australia going to like me? I want to be on radio. Like, if he doesn't listen to me, how is everyone else?
100%.
How will an audience listen?
Yeah.
And radio is hard because you can't gauge the audience.
No.
You're talking to yourself.
Yes.
Right?
It's so
and so
true.
you're imagining and you're hoping people are engaging with me right now. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the one person you want engaging with you doesn't do it. You've got immediate feedback from them. You know, 100%. He's standing right in front of you and you're like, is anyone home? Like, am I getting anything? And what you're getting is not really what you're wanting.
100%. You've hit the nail on the head there for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we will probably dive into a bit of relationships.
Great. I know my ex is out there somewhere going, no, please don't.
We won't mention any names.
Of course not.
It's all confidential.
Of course.
But, because you're so confident and you do draw a crowd and your personality is larger than life and you've got all of this energy, you've got pink hair, love it. It takes a certain person to pull off some pink hair and rock up to a festival full of 17, 18-year-olds, right?
Full on.
Yeah. But the confidence oozes from you.
Oh, that's
and
so
I
nice.
don't know whether or not, that you were born with that. Did you develop that? Did it come through experience? Or did you learn to be that way because you were the opposite before? What was it?
I think it's so funny that when you say I ooze confidence, I think it's all faking it until you make it. I think everyone has their limiting beliefs and everyone has their insecurities, but I think that also gives me confidence in the fact that we are all the same. I might be thinking about, my double chin's showing, or I'm not feeling as pretty today as I should. But I know the other person's thinking the exact same thing about themselves. They're not thinking about me.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, as far as confidence goes, I think work has given me a lot of confidence. Like radio has given me a huge amount of confidence. I think career-wise, I feel so confident in my job. I know what I'm doing when I'm there. I know I can talk to people. I know I can make people laugh, which is so nice. But there's definitely a side of me that doesn't have that confidence, and if we're talking about dating, oh my gosh, forget about it. That side of me is not, the confident side of me, but the person you see every day, it's because I'm talking to you at, events that I've been hosting or, doing this now. I know that I can talk, that's fine, but there's definitely a side of me that's faking it till I make it, for sure.
And is that the relationship side?
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, you're never more vulnerable than you are on a date with someone, are you?
Yeah. The dating game does, because you sort of got to manage the way, how much you want them to know about you. Are they valuable enough to know who I really am? Mm-hmm. Can I trust them? Mm-hmm. Especially when you've got baggage and you've had experiences that, somebody's made me feel really worthless at one point in my life. Am I willing to open the door to someone that potentially could do the same thing?
Yeah, yeah.
And that there's an element of risk in that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Gosh, I risked it all, mate. And it's just it didn't turn out too well. So I guess I'm definitely jaded when it comes to that side. As far as the confidence and positivity with work and stuff, I'm a strong person. I know that and I can get through anything. So the confidence comes from that, I think.
So do you think your life lessons, because we've all got lessons in this world, do you think that one of your life lessons in this lifetime is to work out the relationship space, connection, like in an intimate area?
I don't know. Maybe. I think that's definitely my weak spot in life. I can make friends, no problems. I can talk, no problems. I think that side of being in a vulnerable position, it does take a lot for me to sort of let my walls down in that way, in an intimate setting. So, you're probably right. I think that would be my lesson moving forward for sure.
I know for me, like the things I find the hardest are the lessons that I need to learn, right? The ones that I avoid.
Yes.
I'm avoiding them for a reason.
Yeah.
I know I should go there, and everything we should do, we don't end up doing, right? Because we say we should have done that.
Yeah.
We should have done it. It means we're not doing it and we're not going there. Yeah. But everything I avoid, it's like too hard basket.
Yeah, absolutely. Those demons rattling around, you just got to sort of shut them down sometimes. And get
they're
on with
the
it.
ones that you're like forcing yourself out the door. You're like, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yes,
feel the fear and do it anyway.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
And they're the gold nuggets though.
Mm-hmm.
It's the feel the fear and do it anyway, a bit like you did with radio. Feel the fear. No one's going to listen to me. Mm-hmm. No one's going to want to hear what I've got to say. I'm not worthy enough. Mm-hmm. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Do the course, get on, apply.
Yep.
Meet with Craig Murphy.
Yeah, Sean Craig Murphy.
And then, make it happen.
Yeah.
But feel the fear and do it anyway. So do you do that? You need to be able to translate that because you've got the skill. Mm-hmm. You can do it in business, you can do it in work, you can do it in career, which means you can also do it in relationships.
Mm-hmm. You think so?
You can, right? They're the same skill set.
Yeah.
Because you could have been rejected at work. You could have been rejected in radio altogether.
So true.
But you were passionate enough to pull through and keep going, regardless of being rejected.
Yeah.
Because you'll go, no, who cares? I'll try somewhere else. I'll keep trying.
Yeah, that's so true.
Okay.
I still don't know that I'm convinced with the relationship side of things.
Relationships are, rejection isn't a personal reflection of how crappy you are at them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the lesson you need to learn to move forward, right?
Yeah.
You need that rejection to go, okay, that didn't work. Let me try again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, with radio, let me apply. That didn't work. Let me try again. And then eventually you'll find the place that fits for you.
Yeah, okay.
And relationships end up being the same.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, it's the only thing we don't do is push forward enough to go, this isn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
We take rejection as they're rejecting us, but in reality, they're making a choice not to be with us. It's not, we think of it as rejection,
mm-hmm.
but it's not that. It's their choice not to be with us. And we go, oh, I'm not good enough.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous, isn't it?
Rather than
mm-hmm.
going, oh, they've chosen not to be with me. They have free will and have a choice. Okay, next.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try something different.
Yeah.
Right? And it needs to be a good fit for both of you. I think, and that's what we forget, is that the other person has a choice whether this is a good fit for them as well,
mm-hmm.
not just you.
100%.
And we just grasp onto the hope that it could look a particular way.
Oh, it's so true. It's ridiculous the way we do that. It's sort of like you love something that for its potential rather than what you actually had in front of you, I think.
And this is where the whole mindset of, you know, what you think about, you bring about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can really start to think about what that's going to look like, you can start creating it, because I bet you did that with radio. You knew sort of what you wanted to do. You had this feeling of being on radio. You felt it in your bones. You knew you wanted to do it, and you just made it happen.
Yes.
That's the same passion that creates relationships.
Yeah, I'll wait for that passion to come round, I reckon.
But you've got to want it.
Yes, 100% you do.
Okay, you've got to want it, right?
Want it.
You've got to want it. You don't want it, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so that sort of confidence that you use is in every part of your life, and obviously it's in some parts but not all.
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
All of us.
Yeah, for sure. It's in those some parts, like the parts that you would see. I mean, you say be fearful and do it anyway.
Yeah.
When we met as I was doing an MC gig for beautiful CF Money, Emma Money.
Yeah.
And she told me to do this MC gig, and I knew it made me really fearful and uncomfortable. So I thought, no, well, I've got to do it then.
Right.
So those things, no worries. I'll just make myself do it and make it happen. Even being on camera and doing this now, like this is out of my comfort zone, but I knew I had to say yes to do it and come and do it, because that's important for me to keep pushing myself.
Yeah, yeah. So feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It sounds like you're really good at feeling the fear and doing it anyway without attachment.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you know the job's going to finish today and you'll be done.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do it again if you don't want to.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Relationships don't work like that. It's like, it's a bit of a commitment.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So do you feel pressure though, being in the public eye, to keep up a particular look or a sort of personality or an energy at all? Like, do you feel any pressure around that?
I do feel pressure to feel, super, like be that super bubbly, happy person all the time. And, it definitely behind closed doors, it's sometimes a different story,
Absolutely.
Like I've got my own mental health issues, which I'm really passionate about talking about to create that normalcy and whatever. So definitely behind closed doors, there's some days where I'll been up and about smiling and being so excited all day and showing all this energy, but I'll go home and have to close myself into a room and have a little cry or, just have my own time. Yeah, there's that pressure, I think, being on radio is that you're always going to be everyone's mate and you're always going to be so friendly and excited. And I've definitely had some feedback sometimes because I can be quite introverted, as in I get my energy from being alone.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I've had feedback before where someone's thought I was quite standoffish or rude or something, and I certainly wasn't. I think I was really anxious that day, but I think because you portray this character on air, or when I say character, it is me. It's definitely a side of me.
Yeah.
But
it's not all of you.
It's not all of me.
And
no.
It's when you're in the public eye, they only see one part of you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if it's reality TV, they see a manipulated side of you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but they see the side of you that, they see Lauren that's on radio or as an MC or a public appearance, and you're paid to turn up to be your best.
Yes.
You
absolutely.
don't get paid to turn up and feel like you're in a flat mood.
Yeah, no way.
It won't work.
No way.
It doesn't work. So your mental health journey is really, it interests me because it's important for us in our positions with the platforms that we've got to be able to talk about mental health and about how you can be successful and you can be happy and you can be boisterous and still have moments of feeling flat, not good enough, not worthy, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like that happens.
100% it does.
And is that, so tell me a little bit about what you're advocating for and some of your stuff that's come up around mental health.
Well, I think my ever since I was a kid, I was an anxious kid. You know, I'd go to school and I'd be really sick every single day, and my mum thought I had tummy problems or something like that, but it was this nervous energy that I had going through my bones. So it's definitely something that I've always had, but it was exasperated when I lost my dad when I was 19, and I actually went through some pretty severe PTSD from that. And that took me probably about 8 years to really take ownership of that PTSD and get the help that I needed to really push forward and, you know, not have those triggers or whatever with that. And I think I lived the longest time sort of people telling me that, you know, maybe I was just being dramatic about things, or, you know, it was time for me to let go or move on from what I'd been through, but not realizing that I had this underlying issue. And it wasn't that I was grieving or whatever. I had this PTSD, like really controlling my life, you know.
Yeah.
And from there, that has, you know, anxiety, depression, all these other sort of things that go with that. But for me, I guess it's just normalizing it. I know when I went through different workplaces before I was at Fresh, and it was tough. You know, if I took a day off because of my mental health, I was really sort of made to feel even more guilty or bad about
like
it.
You're doing something wrong.
Yeah. And I just think mental health is such a huge issue in this country, especially with males. And, you know, I want to be able to normalize that conversation. I know I'm a female, but just normalizing that conversation that it does affect everyone.
We are seeing more men talk about it.
Yeah.
And which is refreshing.
Yeah.
I went to an event the other night, Marianne Williams, and I will say to you, when you're in an event like that, that's quite a spiritual event. Most of the time women stand up and ask questions. They give you an opportunity to ask questions. I will say to you, 80% of the people that ask questions were men.
That's amazing.
At an event like that.
I love that.
So the consciousness of the men in Adelaide is really shifting, or if not more progressive than some of the other states, the eastern states that I've been at.
So good.
Which was beautiful to watch, because I was thinking to myself, God, you guys are getting curious. You're starting to like reflect and go in, because how you feel matter. You know, how you feel matters to self and others. And I think men have had to put that under the carpet for a long time because they shouldn't feel, they just need to be workhorses, you know, walking ATMs or whatever they need to be, right?
It's ridiculous.
So the platform that you have is quite a large platform to be able to talk about mental health, but I totally acknowledge the symptoms around PTSD, because
it was huge.
I see it in my practice and me working with people all the time. And I see it in some of their behaviours, in the way they have relationships, right? The way
codependency.
The way that when they've lost somebody that they care about, and depending on how that loss happened, can impact the way they connect with someone of the opposite sex, right?
Yes.
I lost the love of my life, or I lost my first male love. It hurt so much. It impacted me for so long. I don't want to do that ever again. I don't want to put myself in a position that I'll ever feel that loss again. Yeah. And so you do life without having a connection because it was too painful.
Yeah, I mean, the relationship I was in, actually, I had lost my dad only 3 months into our relationship, and I was only 19.
Yeah,
so we were so young. And yeah, it was so good to have that company or that person there that was your rock and whatever. And I think we did have a good relationship, and you know, it did go sour in the last few years, but you know, we certainly did have a good relationship for a long time, and it certainly helped me get through that time in my life. I don't think I would have been able to do it without him at that stage.
We say that, right? We say people come in our lives for a season, a reason, and sometimes forever.
Yes.
You know, and he may have been a reason or a season to stick around, and you got what you needed, and you both got what you needed for that time, whatever the lessons were learned. But PTSD comes up in people with loss, affects the way they sleep, the way they eat, the way they connect with people, the feeling of in their physiology, the feeling of unsettledness in the belly. So it's really important that you mention that, because I think for me, sitting with people that come to my practice that have experienced loss like you or grief like you, don't understand that, you know, maybe it's not grief. maybe you did grieve.
Yeah.
And it's the aftermath of the trauma of the loss that needs to be looked at.
100%. That's exactly it. I ended up doing exposure therapy in 2019, and that was probably the toughest 3 months of my life. It was the most confronting. Yeah. Full-on experience, but I can genuinely, that therapist that did that with me, she changed my life.
That's beautiful.
Not having, oh gosh, I get emotional, but
it's really beautiful.
Not having flashbacks and those sort of symptoms I was having for such a long time. Oh my goodness, if I hadn't pushed through and done that therapy, I wouldn't be in radio now. That was holding me back for the longest time, and not having those symptoms anymore, it's just, like I said, it makes me emotional because she did change my life. Yeah.
Did you do that therapy after the relationship or while you were in it?
While I was in it. Yeah,
right.
Just at the very end of it. It was pretty sour, and I was sort of taking time in the last couple of years of the relationship. I certainly started looking out for myself more and doing things for myself, and that was something I knew I needed to do at the time.
I wonder if going through that exposure therapy gave you a little bit of relief and maybe strength to go, this relationship no longer serves me, time to move on, because that baggage was let go.
I wish it did. That sort of codependency I had, I think, because of what I'd been through.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no, I would have held on to that bloke forever if I could have. Like
whether it's good or not, at least it was some connection with someone. Better something than nothing.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, he ended things and it ended terribly.
So he did you a favour.
He did me a favour. He did. Yeah.
Not at the time.
Not at the time. I definitely wouldn't have said that at the time, but considering where I am now, this was all meant to happen for me to blossom and then go to my next stage in life. Yeah.
And I say that with love because he did you a favour, because when I hear your story saying he made me feel a particular way, I already know he wasn't for you.
No, unfortunately.
We always want our relationships to be forever.
Yeah.
Or, to at least be nice, to have a nice story about it. I'm sure you had some nice times. That's what kept you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what keeps us in relationships that don't serve us, is the memory of the small, nice times in between.
Yeah.
That we go, but we can do this. He's got the capability. I know he does. But if I just hang in there, he will change. Or, I've seen it before. He can give me what I need, but very inconsistently.
Yes.
And on their own watch.
All right, get out of my brain, get out of my whatever's going on in there. Yes, that's very correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're in your 30s. You're
31, settle down.
In
31.
your 30s, all right, just in your 30s, if that makes you feel better. 30s are amazing.
I'm sure they are.
My 30s were incredible. Actually, 40s are amazing. Can I tell you? 40s are amazing.
I mean, you're stunning. You're killing it, girl.
It's not even that, something happens to your body after 40.
Yeah, I love that.
And literally the horsepower just kicks in after 40.
This is amazing. Good news.
You've got some things to look forward to.
Excellent.
So you're figuring, your 20s, you're don't know anything. You think you do. 30s, you're figuring out your shit and you're getting your career and sorting stuff out. By 40, you've just got it. And you just don't really care about anyone.
Can't wait.
You're sorry, not sorry, but this is how I'm doing life.
That's what I want. Yeah, look, that's amazing. But yes, I am in my 30s. I'm 31, just making that clear.
And lots of posters about yourself, bus stops, and, it's almost like a bit of a celebrity status, So this
almost.
Is Davo, this celebrity status is going on.
I'll take it.
Yeah, take it, please. So I wonder, do you think that's going to impact your dating game?
Well, I sort of given it a go. I've dipped my toe in, but I'm not quite ready, I don't think.
Gathered that.
Yeah.
Water's too cold.
Yeah. No, I think I had to try and do that for my own self, knowing that I could do it if I wanted to, but I don't want to at the moment. I do get a lot of DMs from listeners and stuff like that, and that's not quite...
That's not how you want to date. That's not how you want to meet someone.
No, yeah, and all the Tinder and stuff. All the Tinder.
So how much Tinder is there, Laura? You didn't give me this heads up.
I mean, Tinder wasn't around when I was single previously, so it was a whole new ball game. I'm just sort of trying to figure it all out. But I don't think in my head, I don't think people care that much that I'm on a bus stop. I don't think I think it's cool to it's a bit of a flex for me to be I'm on radio.
So you don't feel like that's going to impact the way that you date?
Yeah, I don't
It's not going to
think
change
so.
how people interact with you?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
All right.
I don't reckon. I'm so genuinely myself in those situations. Like I can't imagine anyone taking me seriously enough in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't think anyone would think I think I'm an influencer or I think I'm.
You could be. Maybe you just don't see it. But I'm like seeing you with a few brands and they obviously think you're an influencer.
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
So it is working for you, just not acknowledging it right now.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah, I never wanted to be in radio to be famous
That was
or
not the
anything.
point.
That was definitely not my vibe.
It's just the byproduct. I get it.
Yeah. So I hope that it doesn't impact me.
But I am curious about the toe that you just talked about going in. You maybe shouldn't have said that, but I'm like, tell me about that toe. What happened?
So I did go, I thought, you know what, this is it. This to get over someone, you get under someone else, right?
Or on top.
I did my little wiggle fingers there, gorgeous. Yeah. I decided that I would give it a go. And I went on a couple of dates with this guy and, you know, these dates were great. Like we went out one time for like 7 hours and spoke for the whole time.
Oh, wow.
You know, we had this lady come up to us and she was like, I really hope it works out for you too.
That
You're
was lovely.
gorgeous. Well, he ended up treating me terribly very quickly after that. So we sort of had a couple of good dates and a couple of good interactions, shall we?
Yep. Okay, so some exchange of, whatever it is.
Yeah. He just really made me feel terrible. Once again, made me feel, but, you know, it was something like I put myself out there one time and he basically shot me down and it was a real nasty rejection. It was very personal in a way and he sort of...
no acknowledgement. So putting yourself out there, being vulnerable.
And he sort of was just dismissive, very dismissive, and made me, it did make me feel very, not very nice. And I thought, you know what?
Like, I'm nothing to you.
Yeah.
I'm not important enough for you to acknowledge this.
Yeah, but we spend hours talking and I thought we were sort of trusting each other into a sense, but nah.
So inconsistent though, because his behaviour when he was with you, you would think that he would be receptive of your
100%.
Vulnerability. Was it when he was apart that he wasn't receptive?
Yes, and very dismissive via message and gosh, he was a hard person to get a hold of. Like as in like to be like, oh, do you want to catch up? And he'd be like, yeah.
And then it was,
So not for me.
Okay, and so you were like, this doesn't work for me?
Yeah, I just thought, he was very rude to me one night and I thought, nah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's dipping your toe in?
Yes.
Okay, so you're like, that's good because that's the experiences, right? So you now know what you don't want.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not going to be receptive, if they're not consistent, if they're not going to show up on a date when they say, or at least when they say, yeah, let's catch up and don't follow through, you already know, well, that's a boundary broken for me.
Yes, 100%.
You got to keep doing it and have your boundary. Like that's how you get better at it. Yeah,
right? I'm sure.
So you got to keep dipping your toe in.
I will. I have deleted all the apps at the moment, but I do see like, you know, I can see in the future that'll be something I go with. But I think at the moment I'm really happy working on the relationship with myself and my career. Like I'm loving my career. So
are you doing anything for yourself, like a ritual? Do you do something every day? Do you make sure that I don't know, some people meditate, some people walk, some people have a hot tea or a water with lemon in the morning. Do you have a ritual that helps you connect with self?
Not at the moment. Although I say that, but no, I love going to the beach and I go to the beach, you know, 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
I love being out in nature and that always makes me feel connected to myself. So going for a swim at the beach, doesn't matter the weather, love doing that. Going for a hike up at Mount Osmond is one of my other favourite spots to go to. So getting out in nature would be my self-care routine.
Yeah.
Obviously don't do it every day, but
it's a practice. And I think it's important to remember that you are an introvert.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so people wouldn't expect that from you because you're extroverted in your work and, you know, the career that you're doing. But some of our most famous and most, you know, experienced speakers are introverts. It's just that they need that alone time to recover.
100%, yeah. And those are the times that I take and I love being outside and I love being by the water and that's definitely my self-care routine.
Okay, so I know that you've had a bit of, you know, you dipped your toe into dating and, you know, is there any sort of pickup line that you've heard or anything that you can remember that's like, that you can't get out of your head that you go, oh my God, that's insane. I can't believe someone said that to me.
Yeah, look, I'll take you back to when I was like 15 because it was a very funny story.
Yeah, go for it.
So I was at Port Broughton with my bestie at her little shack. And as you do as a 15-year-old, you ride your bikes around and you meet the locals. And so we met a couple of local boys there and they said, hey, do you want to come to this party? So we thought, great, went to this party, UDL's on tap. Gorgeous, you know.
Yeah, 15. What else do you want?
Yeah. We're in a shed. Jesse's girls playing. Get the vibes. You know, we're in a country town.
Visualising it, yeah, to a T.
And my eyes locked with this beautiful guy named Fluffy.
Is that okay? I hope that's his pet name because it's not really, and it's not his birth name because I've got concerns.
So yeah, Fluffy, and we had a beautiful kiss. You know, as you do at 15, little party pash. And I said, hey, like, where's your name Fluffy come from? What's the go there? And he turns around as the little country boy he was and he's like, Fluffy's Latin for sexy. And I've never seen such confidence before or after that. Amazing stuff. And that stayed with me all these years.
I'll have to remember that.
It's not.
Oh. Thank God you told me because I'm like, that's a new Dr. Love word. I'm like,
Fluffy's Latin for sexy. No, absolutely not. I have no idea. I never got down to the real truth of Fluffy, but yeah, I'm assuming it's, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, I don't even want to know.
I don't want to know.
Okay, well, that's a good one. So we'll your story's all about Fluffy. So
yeah,
great. So if we're looking back, I mean, you've gone back to 15.
Yeah.
Let's go back to maybe you at that age or even younger. And if you have to look back as an adult, just 30, is there a particular piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
I think I just tell myself that I am good enough. Like, you're no different to anyone else. You're amazing. Like, I just would praise myself as a kid. I don't know that I got that enough as a child. And I think being so, you know, I was so insecure, and I think it would be more so telling myself everything is going to be okay. Doesn't matter, you're going to go through waves, but everything will be okay in the end. Just ride the wave, babe, you got this, you know?
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I love that, to be able to just turn around and say to our younger self, I've got you.
Yeah.
You know, I got you.
Yeah. And I think I did go through so many waves in my life, and I think, yeah, just giving that reassurance that don't be so worried because I promise you're going to be fine. And you're going to be on radio one day. So
and you're like, come on, girlfriend. Like, you got this.
Yeah.
So is there anywhere we can go to sort of see some of the mental health advocacy you're doing? Are you doing anything in particular?
Not yet, but I will be. So I've just signed up to be a advocate for the Sammy D Foundation, which they basically, you know, mentor and educate young people around violence and also relationships. But I do really want to move into that space, and I'm going to. I know it. That's just something I need to. And on air, I've definitely done some pieces where I've spoken about it. But yeah, we're getting there.
Okay. Well, we'll look out for that.
Thank you.
But thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Such a pleasure having you as a guest. It's been really lovely.
I've really just opened up my soul here. So
you have. It's good because we see a part of you, and we don't often have these intimate conversations with the people we see on TV or radio.
No,
like that, you're more than just, you know, the billboard.
100%. Yeah,
there's so much more, and I think it's really important. I think the theme of the conversation is, if someone can take away something today from our conversation, it's you can actually have it all and still not be okay some days.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's not about finding happiness all the time. I find it's finding peacefulness in life. And if you can be peaceful, then you're living the dream.
Done. All right. Well,
thank you so much.
Thanks for having, not thanks for having me. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, obviously.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks, Lauren.
You.
Okay, bye. Thank you to our sponsors, Sexyland, Australia's largest range of fun for adults, and Cassandra Mamone for designing timeless pieces of jewelry that encapsulate classic design and modern inspiration. All advice given on the podcast is general in nature, and if you need a tailored approach to your wellness journey, reach out to the incredible team at Sonare Wellness for both traditional and alternative therapies. We acknowledge and pay our respect to the traditional custodians of the land that we gather on. We respect and value their past, present, and ongoing connection to the land, sea, and skies.
Thanks for listening to the podcast with Dr. Love. For all show notes and resources mentioned in this episode, head to www.drlove.com. That's DRLURVE.com. Got a question for Dr. Love? Email her at ask@dr.love.com. Love the show? Remember to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Leave us a review or share it with your friends. Thanks for listening, lovers. We'll see you on the next episode. This is Between the Sheets with Dr. Love.